Hello everyone, this is Aaron Johnson with the Johnson iRacing team, bringing you the Johnson iRacing team weekly update at the end of week number 10 of the fourth season of the 2020 iRacing year. This week, the Legends cars were at South Boston Speedway, and the street stocks were racing at Langley. Let's hop right in and see how our drivers did this week. We'll start out with Jake Johnson. Jake raised his iRating to 1,750. That's the highest his iRating's been since he started racing on the platform. Jake had a very good week in terms of having solid and consistent finishes and being able to run up toward the front. This week, Jake entered 5 races. He didn't have any wins, but he did finish with 2 top 5s, didn't sit on the pole. But overall, I think he did pretty well this week. More importantly, he was able to score some significant points in his series. In the Street Stock Series, Jake has moved up to 205th out of 17,696 drivers that have attempted a points-paying race in the Fanatec Rookie Street Stock Series. That puts Jake inside the top 1.2% of all drivers that have attempted at least one points-paying race. In the Street Stock Series, Jake has 23 starts, 3 wins, 7 top 5s, and 2 poles. His top 5 percentage is a little less than 33%, closer to 30%. What you really shoot for here is to get that top 5 percentage closer to 50%. Although in the rookie street stock series, it's really hard because there are a lot of new drivers and you get banged up a lot. Your race, it's very easy for a race to be ended through an accident. In the Legends Cup is where Jake's been doing his best work. In the Legends Cup right now, Jake is in Division 4, and in his division he stands 23rd out of about 1,250 drivers in Division 4. Remember, the divisions are based on your iRating at the time the season starts, with 1 being the highest iRating, 10 being the lowest iRating. So Jake was in Division 4 when he started. He's worked his way into the top 25. He's doing very well there. Overall in the series, Jake is ranked 146th out of 14,854 drivers that have tried at least one points-paying race in the Legends Cup. That puts Jake in the top 1.0% of drivers that have made at least one points-paying race. Jake has 40 starts. He's got 7 wins, 17 top 5s, and 7 poles. Average start's about 8th. Average finish is about 7th. So his average start and finish are about the middle of the pack. His top 5 percentage is still just a touch under 50%, and in the Legends Cup, one of the big goals that we set for the team and for ourselves is to try to finish in the top 5 about half the time. Still, overall, Jake doing very well. He's moved inside the top 150, and I think that means that if Jake can kind of stay on course here, he's going to do maybe better than what his initial goals were, which were to finish inside the top 250, and then we revise those goals to maybe be inside the top 150 by the end of the season. So Jake doing really well. What about my brother Joe? Joe Johnson is also doing very well. He's increased his iRating to 2,171. That's the highest that Joe's iRating has been since he started iRacing back in August. This week, Joe attempted 4 races. He had no wins, but he did have 2 top 5 finishes. He is on the verge of making his 100th start overall. Joe focuses primarily on the Legends cars. He did not race in the Street Stock Series this week, and as a result, his standing in the Street Stocks fell to 2,361 out of the 17,696 drivers. Joe's still inside the top 15% of drivers, despite having raced only 5 of the 10 possible weeks in the Street Stock Series. The Legends Cup Series is where Joe has chosen to focus. He is in Division 5 of the 10 divisions, or 11 if you count the rookies. And at this point, he's second in Division 5. Joe about 160 points back of Chris Wold. Chris Wold has really taken off in the Legends Cup, so Joe's trying to chase him down. But he's still doing really well. Joe has 46 starts, 2 wins, 22 top 5s, and 3 poles. His average start and finish both about 6th place. Those are very good numbers. He's not quite to 50%, but he's very close in terms of his top 5 percentage. More importantly, in the overall rankings is where Joe's starting to shine. He is ranked 80th out of 14,854 drivers in the Advanced Legends Cup. That puts Joe inside the top 0.6%. That means if we were to take a sample of 1,000 drivers at random and stick Joe in that sample, he would be one of the top 6 drivers that we chose on average. So Joe doing really, really well at this point in time. I think for his first full season, Joe's just done dynamite, and he's done a really good job taking care of race cars and getting that iRating up high. What about me? This is Aaron Johnson, the third member of the Johnson iRacing team. My iRating dropped a little bit this week. It dropped down to 25.16. I had a stretch of really difficult races at South Boston Speedway. At least one of those races was completely my fault. It looked like I'd never driven a race car, a simulated race car in my life. I looked like a rank amateur out there. And it came back to haunt me a little bit, totally my fault. A couple of other races, I was just minding my own business, running up front, and got crashed by a lap car. So that happens sometimes. You get these little stretches where you have some bad luck, and that happened to me. Still, I started 10 races this week, managed to win 2. It's the first time I've had multiple wins in a week since very early in the season. I had 4 top 10s, and I sat on the pole 3 times. So, overall, a pretty good week for me. In the Street Stock Series is where I'm doing my best work. At this point in time, I am in the top 10 globally of more than 17,000, almost 18,000 drivers that are attempting street stock races here in the Rookie Series. So moving into the top 10 is kind of a bonus for me. I'd set my goal early in the year to be in the top 25. I'm hoping I can stay there. But right now, it's really a plus that I'm in the top 10. In the street stocks, I've got 37 starts, 3 wins, 12 top 5s, and 2 poles. My average start and finish of 7th and 8th are actually pretty good, because most of the time in the street stock class, you have somewhere between 16 and 18 starters. So my average start and finish is somewhere in the top half. In the Legends Cup, the competition's quite a little bit better. I started out in Division 9, and remember, that's because I had some struggles with internet issues causing me to get disconnected in the middle of races, and my iRating really suffered early, just before the season started and early in the season. Still, in Division 9, I lead by about 370 points or so. I'm not a shoo-in to win that division, but with 2 weeks left, it's almost a mathematical, I think it is mathematically impossible for anyone to catch me now. So I guess I am a shoo-in to win Division 9, and that's okay. More importantly, if we look overall, my rating in the globally in the iRatings in the Advanced Legends Cup in iRacing is 41st out of 14,854 drivers that have started at least one points-paying race. That puts me inside the top 0.3% of racers, which means if we took a sample of 1,000 drivers at random and stuck me in it, I'd be one of the top 3 that we picked out of that 1,000-person sample. I've got 60 starts, 13 wins, 33 top 5, so my top 5 percentage in the Legends Cup is above 50%. That's where we want it. 14 poles, and my average start and finish is 5th. Generally speaking, you have 12 to 14 cars in these Advanced Legends Cup races, so an average finish of 5th is pretty good in that respect. I think overall here, the goals that I've set for myself, probably not going to be able to meet the top 25 goal in the Advanced Legends Cup. There just aren't enough races, and I'm going to need to gain 1,000 points in 2 weeks, 100 points in 2 weeks, and that's just not going to happen. So looks like I'm going to finish outside the top 25. Hopefully I can stay inside the top 50. There are 2 weeks left, and I've got an opportunity maybe to achieve that. How have we done overall as a racing team? I think for this season, at least right now, it looks like we're meeting all of our goals. We set a goal of putting all of our drivers inside the top 250 in the Legends Cup. Right now, we're on pace to do that easily. And quite frankly, if Jake can have a little bit of luck next week at Southern National Motorsports Park and then the last week at Langley, he may very well finish inside the top 150. And that would put all 3 of our drivers inside the top 150. I would consider that a tremendous success for the Johnson iRacing team. As always, if you're an iRacer and you're interested in becoming part of a racing team, we certainly invite you to reach out to the Johnson iRacing team. We have a set of standards that we follow. They are not performance-based. They are professionalism-based. We expect drivers to take responsibility when you make a mistake. We do, and just as I did here in this update, I admitted that I looked like a rank amateur. Sometimes you have a bad race, you just own it, and you let people know that it wasn't intentional, and you take ownership of it and go on. We try to be careful about what we say. I know in the heat of battle, sometimes you're going to drop a bomb, but we want it to be a kid-friendly kind of environment so that these young racers that are interested in iRacing and may eventually use this as a springboard to racing go-karts or something in the real three-dimensional world, we want them to feel welcome. And the same with our racers that are are women or are trans or are of different orientations. We want everybody to feel welcome. We're all here to race. We don't care about the rest of that stuff. We don't even worry about the political piece of it. We want to race, and we want a big tent. We want everybody to be welcome. So if you think that's you and you'd be interested in coming to be part of the Johnson iRacing team, look me up through the driver search. My handle is Aaron Johnson 14. Once you find me, you just click on my page and you're going to see a send message button. That's going to be right here. Send me a message. Tell me you're interested in becoming part of the team. We share everything. We share setups, qualifying setups, paint schemes, driving lines, tricks, tips. We share it among the team. The only thing we ask is that you don't share it with anyone outside the team unless you talk to us about it first. That's all we ask. So if we give you a setup, we just want you to hang on to it. And if you've got your best friends racing and they're not part of the team, make a case to us to share that setup with them. And we're generally not unreasonable. That's what we've got for week number 10. This is Aaron Johnson for the Johnson iRacing team saying, go fast, turn left, have fun.